Hi, this is the first development log of Residuum. In this one, I'm going to be talking about, the premise of the game, what's the game about, the story, the genre, the enemies that you fight, the way you interact with the enemies, the basis of the weapons, a little bit about the multiplayer, the soundtrack of the game, and then I'm just going to be having a little FAQ session at the end of it and then summarize it all. So let's start about the first thing. Residuum's premise. What is it about? What do you do in this game? The genre of this game is a first-person shooter. It's supposed to be a late 90s styled video game, akin to Quake 2. It's not as fast-paced as Quake 2, but it serves and functions something like Quake 2. The story of the game is that there are two civilizations. There is the Synot, a synthetic race, and you play as a Synot character named Chanik. And then there is the Evlairs, the race that you're fighting against. Now, these two races were once at peace with each other until a virus, dubbed Virus of the Flesh, started to mutate and alter parts of the Evlairs. It started to turn them into this weird, it started to corrupt their minds, turn them into like this, relentless race. Now they're trying to destroy everything in their path, and they're acting really bizarre. And your objective is to destroy the hive mind, to find the source of this virus. And that's pretty much the overall basis of the story. Encountering the enemies. I'll be talking about the vein spitters, oscillators, and the anclipsers in this little section here. The vein spitters, this is what they look like. The reason why they're a lot of strange colors is because the Evlair race, they're comprised of a bunch of colors because they're trying to quote-unquote camouflage, which it's somewhat explained in the lore of the game if you're interested into that. This vein spitter, what they do is they're stationary turrets. It's nothing too special until they start to, when they're triggered. Whenever you shoot turret, whenever you shoot a vein spitter, it'll look in that general direction and immediately start shooting. And once it sees you, it'll start shooting you through the walls. Like the projectiles will go through the walls for a given amount of time. These projectiles don't do much damage, but keep in mind the vein spitters do deal a lot of damage when there's a lot of them working together. But mainly they're in a pack of two, so they don't deal that much damage to the player, where it's just straight out annoying. Whenever these projectiles see you, they'll either hit you or orbit around and gravitate around the character. It's supposed to intimidate the player. So that's the functionality of the vein spitter. It's just a stationary turret, and it has projectiles in which gravitate around the player and go through walls. The oscillator is the common enemy in the game. You'll run across a bunch of these oscillators, a bunch of these guys around. They have two attack modes. They have their power beam, which is the burst rifle. It acts as a burst rifle. It shoots 3 projectiles at a time. And then it has a blade arm, in which this blade arm deals a significant amount of damage. Sorry, my pin dropped. It deals a significant amount of damage, and it can also push the player back at a great speed. So whenever you fight these enemies, just make sure you're not on a bridge, because if you do, they will push you off. For the last enemy, we'll be talking about the anclipser. The anclipser is equipped with a shotgun and a blade arm. They're essentially used for close quarters combat. That's their purpose. Now, they don't have a lot of health, but they are powerful. Their shotgun has some spread, and their projectiles aren't as fast, but whenever they do hit you, they will deal some damage to you. And also the blade arm is kind of the same thing as the oscillator. It will push you back, but the difference is the damage amount. The anclipser will do more damage to you. The anclipsers are leaders, so you won't run across them as much until you go into areas that need to be secure, secure areas like power cores, or just the control room, or just something of the ordinary of needing to be protected more than common areas. You'll find these anclipsers. The basics of Residuum's weapons. I'm not going to be talking about all the guns in the game, as there are 7, and each weapon has a different function. If I do add more, I'll let all of you know, but for now, they're just going to be 7. The A4, the first gun I'm going to be talking about here, and then I'll be talking about the Naut Zero, and that's it, just these 2 guns. The A4 is a standard issued pistol into the game. The only unique thing about it, why you should go back to this gun whenever you do get the more powerful guns, is that its projectiles have kind of a strange arc to it. And you can also pinpoint them to the floor, and they will act like temporary mines. So whenever the enemy goes over them, it'll, kill them. The second gun is the Naut Zero. The Naut Zero is the automatic weapon of the game. It's the assault rifle. There's nothing special to it within its firing modes, what it delivers. It's just your standard assault rifle. Residuum's soundtrack has 3 different sets. The first one is the cutscenes, and this is what one of the songs sound like for whenever you're in a cutscene. The second one is the standard action music in the game, and then here's a preview of one of the tracks. And then you have the boss music. The boss music is more climactic, and it has a different quality to it, and it's supposed to. And here is one of the boss songs. The soundtrack mainly speaks for itself, but you can expect a blend of different styles within the genres of Residuum's soundtrack. And if that's up your alley, then awesome. If it's not, then that's fine. You can always cut the soundtrack off in the options of the game. Residuum's multiplayer. For the multiplayer portion of Residuum, I was only planning to do like a co-op type of mode, but this is really up for discussion, as it's going to take some time for me to actually develop the multiplayer, because the first thing I want to do is finish the single player portion and then start doing the multiplayer. But the multiplayer is really up to all of you what it should be, because like I said, I plan to have a co-op mode. But if you want something more, just let me know, because I'm really up for anything for the multiplayer. Here is the FAQ section for Residuum. So what is Residuum about? It's about stopping a virus from completely eradicating a synthetic race and becoming far more intelligent than it is already. Will it ever go exclusive? No, it's not going to go Epic Games exclusive. I mean, I doubt Epic Games will reach out to me, but if they do, I'm not going to make it exclusive. Because I'm not really in this for the money. I'm really passionate about this game, and I really want this to be available for everyone, and I don't want to, exclude a certain audience. I'll feel completely terrible. Will Residuum get to consoles? At some point, yes. It will get to Xbox and PS4 after the PC release at some point. And then, I'm not sure about the Switch. I really don't know, but if I can, it will go on Switch. Will Residuum go to mobile? After PC release and console release, it will. Is there multiplayer? At launch, there probably won't be multiplayer, but there will be at some point, and it will be free. How much will Residuum cost? Payment is actually optional, as it serves as a tip. Depending on the donations, it will go to Steam, and it will be free. I'm not sure about consoles, as there is no monetization model in the game. If I need to make the game cost money for consoles, it will be relatively cheap. For mobile games, there will be an option. It will be free for mobile, and there's going to be optional ads. By default, they will be cut off. If you want to support me financially, you can cut them on whenever the mobile release is out. What is the length of Residuum's campaign? On average, it should take about maybe 2 to 3 hours roughly to complete the campaign. Are there microtransactions? No. There is a donation section in the credits, but this does not lock any kind of content whatsoever. If you have any more questions, just let me know, and I will, put them in the FAQ and stuff like that. If you do ask, is the game coming to Steam? At first, it's going to go to GameJolt, and depending on the amount of donations I get, I will put the game on Steam for free. For the summary of all this, the premise of Residuum is about stopping a virus from completely eradicating an entire race and from becoming more intelligent. You stop the source signal. The genre is a first-person shooter. It's psychedelic in its style, in a way. We talked about the enemies, such as the Vein Spitter, the Oscillator, and the Eclipser. We talked about the basis of the weapons, like the A4 and Alt-0. The multiplayer is up for discussion since I only plan for a co-op mode. I'm not sure what else to put in. And then I went over the soundtrack. And then just started talking about frequently asked questions I got from TikTok. Yes, I have a TikTok. I know it's kind of cringe. I have a huge audience there, and I have to thank them because they're the reasons why I can power through and make this game happen. If you want to follow me on there, you can. This is my account and stuff like that. I mainly just post updates on my games. If you don't want to follow me, you don't have to, but you can check out these 2 hashtags to see everything I've done so far, or how I do things and stuff like that. Thank you for looking at this video about talking about Residuum. It means a lot to me. I'm not sure if it's too long. I wanted to make it pretty relatively simple. But by October 31st, I'm hoping to put a demo out to the game. And if I can't, I'll let you know. But if I can, it will be released, a playable demo. Again, thank you for watching this. And if you can support me, that'd be awesome.